You're granted an audience and told that the High Priest will meet you in one of the smaller antechambers.
Is it that same kid who came to tell me I got the audience?
No.
Okay.
No, he got hit.
He got his ears boxed.
And you're directed into an antechamber. A gorgeous room. Very opulent. It has beautiful silk couches to sit upon. And a stone table carved out of the same kind of material you saw while you were in the Temple of Osprey. That that stone that has an almost coral texture, except it's been polished to a mirror sheen. On the wall, when you come into the room, on your left is a large hearth. On the opposite end of the room is a door leading to another room. And above that door, in a stone case, you see a staff mounted. The case is locked, has protective glass over it, and just looking at the glass, being an arcane caster, you can see the protective runes on it. The staff looks like it makes your fork look like a piece of shit.
Wow.
I'll just stand there admiring the staff for a while, and kind of like looking around, taking notes on ways I could improve my own temple.
Gotta get some of them couches. The oldest human being you've ever met is probably the Watcher, I would think. And his physical stature was broken. He was stooped. He wore bandages around his eyes. His hair was scraggly and unkempt. His skin was wrinkled and grayish. When the High Priest enters the room, you can tell that he's old, but he looks like a man in his prime. He's muscular. He has a full head of gray hair. And he has a look that tells you straight off the bat that what you heard before about how he puts up with zero bullshit is the truth. Your first thought when you see this man enter the room, wearing robes, by the way, that make yours look... Well, I mean, you just swim across a lake.
Yeah, but my robes are magical, and they don't get dirty.
That's true. All right, your robes are as nice as his, I suppose.
Yeah.
The immediate feeling when he steps into the room is, I kind of would almost prefer to deal with Rowan Darkwood. If I had to choose. And he enters the room, and he looks at you, none too impressed. Like he's seen it before.
Are we alone here?
Just the two of you, yeah, when he steps in. And he looks you up and down, and he says, "Speak."
Good to meet you. My name's Kelian. I'm the founder and emissary of the Temple of Osprey in Sigil. Yeah, they told you that I can't talk about your captain, right?
He nods once.
Captain Terran.
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Drop that name.
Sigil, you know where the important people live?
This is just a 13.
He hasn't said anything.
Okay.
He's waiting for you to get to the point.
What is the point? Why was I sent here?
You weren't.
I was sent by another friend of yours named Corinu. And I look at him to see if he recognizes the name.
There's no change on his face.
He said you might be able to help us end this problem that you're having.
What problem would that be?
Unnaturally long life.
He asks what you know about it. How did you learn about this? Let me guess. You entered the city gates, and the first and lowliest urchin on the street told you the priest here was over 100 years old.
No, I spoke to a man named the Watcher. I think you know as, and I'm trying to remember his name here. Kyle something? Khalil, that was it.
And he's waiting for you again to get to the point.
Oh, not Khalil. I keep doing this, sorry.
No,
it was Khalil. Now I got it right.
Khalil.
Yeah, it was Khalil.
He's in a bad way. He's still alive, same as you. And he's asked us to help stop his suffering. Koranu too. It seems tired of it all.
Am I supposed to be impressed that you're from Sigil, or that you know the name Khalil?
Neither. You're supposed to be impressed that I saved the life of your god.
Make a persuasion check at disadvantage.
Okay, let's call that a 25.
25?
Yep.
Dang.
And again, he looks you up and down. And you see his eyes rest on your fork for a while.
Mhm.
And then he says, if Khalil wants release, instruct him to draw a blade across his neck. If Koranu does, instruct him of the same. As for me, I do not consider my long life a curse. I think they are sad, dead men, if they do.
They've tried it. Doesn't work.
You've seen what we have built here.
It's true.
If you had seen this place even 50 years ago, there was no cathedral, there was no infrastructure, there were no settlers, there were certainly no gnomes. There was very little here. I built it. I built it.
All right. I built a temple in Sigil. It's a year old and it's pretty nice. No, it's 2 months old.
And it's a point of great pride for you.
Sure.
As is this city to me.
And I'm sure it'll remain so after your... Where do we go? I suppose Oskin's realm. I've been there, you know.
And he says he's not impressed with that either.
So you're saying what? Do you think that you built this, that means you get to stay around forever and watch it just grow, or maybe die? Either way?
He's saying that he wants to know what the hell Koranu sent you here for. If Koranu wants release from his life, I'm not able to help him.
What about Terran? Terran's alive, same as they are, but he's in a much worse position. Koranu, he's got his own little holdfast down in Molesty. It's a nice place. I've been there a few times. Probably never going back. Khalil, well, his situation's less great, but I've been to his room too. It's not bad. He's got an okay life. He's not all there anymore, but Terran is being held captive in the Blood War.
And I care about none of this. Is there anything else?
Yeah. All right. If you don't care about that, let's talk about the future of Osprey. You know I'm not lying, right?
Again, he waits for you to get to the point.
How did it come to the point where Osprey was so fragile that one person swung it either way?
He has no idea what you're talking about.
I'm saying if I hadn't converted to Osprey when I did, all this stuff you built would have been for nothing.
And to that he responds that you're making a grave error in judgment if you think he built all this for the glory of Osprey. He tells you that a singular devotion to one idea is what led Corinu and Khalil to their demise. The reason he has prospered here is because he's not singularly devoted to one idea or one belief.
But you're the high priest. Don't all the other priests of Osprey come to look for you for guidance? What do you tell them?
I tell them to seek guidance in their own lives, to make their own way in this world. I'm sorry that I couldn't help you. Go back to your city of doors. And then he turns to exit the room.
All right. Thanks for your help, Dick.
As you're leaving the High Temple, one of the acolytes, a young gnome, tails you back towards the shore.
Okay.
And you notice him following
Is he
you.
swimming along with me?
Well, this is before you reach the shore.
Okay, got
This is as you're leaving the cathedral grounds. And he's just following you at a distance, just watching you.
I'll look back and say, see something you like?
And he says, I didn't mean to pry. I thought I heard you say something about the captain?
Yeah, Captain Terran. Apparently ex-friend of your high priest there.
He says he's heard stories of Captain Terran, but that the priest never speaks of him.
Oh yeah? Well, I got a place to be, but if you want to share some stories, which I'm always happy to, why don't you come by the wheel later?
Well, he says
Swap tales.
that what he heard is that the captain is trapped in hell.
That's true.
And you came here to help him?
That's also true.
He says he's not supposed to, but if you don't get him into trouble with any of the priests, he can lead you to one of Terran's friends. Someone who hasn't abandoned the captain yet.
Come by the wheel then, we'll talk. I got other friends too. They should all hear it.
Okay. What about this afternoon? What are some afternoon actions? Riot, you first.
Let's see. I'm going to go to the Gnomish Library.
What about Kelian?
Kelian goes to the guild of whatever it is.
Are you looking to do or anything there or learn anything that hasn't already been covered by the other guys?
Yeah, Kelian would be way more curious
Okay.
about how this Prime is a guild of doors. That's what is it called again? The
The Guild of Arcane Doors.
of Arcane Doors. Okay.
Liberation.
I want to find out what's up with these. Basically, I'm trying to find rumors about these guys. About this Guild of Arcane Doors here.
Okay. Roll a charisma check, and then just keep the score to yourself for now. Just make a note of it. What's Mahogany doing?
Oh, I'm absolutely going with Kelian.
And what about Serenity?
Serenity. First of all, how long do I think I still have on my sending by this fireball thing?
Sending?
This is a much smaller city than Sigil, and you don't have to. You're not supposed to meet back at the wheel for another couple hours.
Okay.
I'll put it this way: if you take your afternoon action, if the evening action isn't to go back to the wheel, we'll have difficulties.
She's gonna wander out into the forests in whichever way looks the most rugged for about an hour and a half.
So she's gonna go leave the city walls?
Yep.
The forests, the woodlands closest to the city, are under the control of Duke Donbrick. This is Donbrick's lands, which means hunting his game without permission is not legal. Mm-hmm. That being said, Donbrick is a gnome, and a forest gnome at that. And what you learn, just talking with a couple of what you take to be poachers as you're exploring the woods closest to the walls, one of the reasons they chose to settle in this area, they don't live in the city proper. They live off the land several miles outside of the city. But forest gnomes have a reverence for the woods and all of everything that they supply. And so Donbrick is known amongst humans in the area for not prosecuting poachers. That the woods being quote-unquote his lands are more a formality as far as neighboring kingdoms are concerned.
Okay. So
it sounds like this Donbrick guy is very much a live and let live person. Are you personally doing any hunting?
No, I wanted to get out, take a long walk and then cast my new Commune with Nature ritual.
What does that do?
It summons a bear spirit, an eagle or bear spirit to tell me about the natural world.
It's rad.
Let me read that real quick. I've literally never seen this spell cast before.
Oh, it's dumb as hell. It's already in my selected spells list.
And I'm wondering how jealous that Nodal is that he didn't get to cast it first.
Oh no, I'm super pumped that other people want to cast Commune with Nature. It is awesome.
So what 3 facts is Serenity looking to learn from this ritual?
Gonna go for influence from other planes.
There is a strong influence on this plane from Bitopia.
Yep.
As well as a strong connection with another prime material world.
Interesting.
Through which many of these gnomes have settled.
Powerful celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, and dead.
There is a residual influence of undead and fae in the area, but it's residual. It's something that was either destroyed or driven away years and years ago.
And any buildings that aren't part of the city.
Outside of like farmers' huts and whatnot, out in the out towards the fields, a couple of hunters' shacks in the woods, and a couple of small fishing villages up and down the river. Nothing of note.
Okay.
Liberation, how'd that charisma check go?
17.
You are perhaps disappointed to learn that when they say arcane doors, they don't mean portals in the way that you know them. The arcane door that they're referring to specifically is a teleportation circle that links this city with a city on the other side of the ocean.
Okay.
The Guild of Arcane Doors learned, apparently, years and years ago, that the people who created this teleportation circle were seeking doors that led to other planes of existence. So the guild itself is kind of a very flowery title. They don't actually control any doors. There are none known in Kiska. But they like to put on airs and pretend that there are. So by putting on the title Guild of Arcane Doors makes them sound more important than what they actually are. They're really just a very kind of run-of-the-mill tradesman's guild that oversees Kiska's interest as far as putting sending items to and from that magic circle. Not only that, but Kiska doesn't have a lot of control over it, and they don't have favorable trading terms with Blue Worm.
What kind of goods do they move from Kiska? What like I already get the idea that lumber such goes to Kiska, but what comes here from Kiska? What is Blue Worm getting in return?
Very little. A lot of what they import from Kiska are like curiosities for the nobility. Fancy furniture, fancy-looking rugs, things of this nature. As far as moving a lot of goods, they really can't because they don't control the circle. They bring in some high-ticket items that the main population of Blue Worm would have no interest in because they couldn't afford them. Mm-hmm. Once in a great while, perhaps once a generation, a nobleman in Blue Worm, or even on occasion one of the priests of the cathedral, will either commission or find a magic item that will come through.
Okay.
You get the sense that most of what the guild does, their day-to-day tasks, is to make sure that Kiska is buying lumber in sufficient quantities more cheaply than they can get it brought in by boat. And sometimes they can't.
Okay.
So it's not a very powerful guild. The other function they serve here in Blue Worm is kind of an unofficial, like, political dignitary. Like if on the rare occasion where the high priest or the duke has business with the nobility of Kiska, they might go through the guild just because they're at hand.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of deflated a
So-
lot of the things I wanted to find out.
I mean, this is the same culture that brought us the ancient and exalted order of Eretsu.
So why don't you call yourself? Wait, if there's only one circle, why don't you guys call yourself the Guild of Arcane Circle?
You didn't
Or at
learn
least,
any
like,
of
Guild of Arcane Door.
You didn't learn any of that. That was Liberation specifically doing some investigation. He got that information largely from Blue Worm tradesmen, people who were selling to the guild or selling their sales facilitated by the guild. What are Mahogany and Kelian doing at the guild when they go there?
Trying to figure out what the doors lead to.
And you're
Where are
told
the
stories about... First of all, they talk up this unparalleled school of magic that is located in Kiska. And about all of the different wondrous and fantastical worlds, the homes of the gods, that magic doors are able to lead to.
Yeah, but where are your doors?
They're very short on information about doors that they actually know of or control.
But you're the Guild of Arcane Doors. Like,
I don't think you have any doors at all.
Another question I had, Burkhardt, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do I see any prime tieflings floating about town?
Several of the members of the guild would be.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, they don't have tails.
They're tailless, but
Out
otherwise
and
they
about-
got horns.
Out and about in
red eyes.
town, very, very rarely you'll meet one who does have a tail. But yeah, all of them have different shapes and sizes of horns, etc. But I mean, very rarely. It's
then I would
not.
totally
It's not a
be
large
palming
part of the
onto that guy.
population. Now, for the guild, to the guild's credit, they're able to give pretty accurate descriptions of a lot of the planes of existence that you guys know of. Especially Beator. They describe the city of Dis to you. They don't describe it as hell. They describe it as a great and fantastical place. But they're describing the first couple layers of Beator when they say that.
Alright, guys, don't worry. I've got your backs. I understand. It's more of like it's an ambitious title. I'm gonna help you out. And Mahogany reaches into his pocket and pulls out a seed and puts it into a crack in a door. and then slaps it and makes it bloom into a flower, and he goes boom.
Roll a diplomacy check at disadvantage.
It's not an arcane door; it's a divine door.
What is diplomacy?
But you can
Charisma.
have all kinds of doors. That is a negative.
And
No, that's a 2.
you have given grave and severe insults at the Guild of Arcane Doors, and are told that if you don't, you and who's with you, Kelian, if the two of you don't leave the premises, that they will summon the forest serpent to drag you away.
Come on. We're visiting. This is our first time in this city.
Wait, you have
We're
a forest
curious.
serpent? Why didn't you lead with that?
So are you guys leaving, or am I calling the city guard?
You're calling the city guard. There's no way Kelian's leaving.
Okay. We will pick up your battle with the city guard next session.
Never said battle.
Riot.
There was not going to be a battle.
There would be.
All right, to be clear here, Mahogany is leaving.
Okay.
So Kelian is welcome to fight any forest serpents he wants.
Really? You're going to leave Kelian behind?
Dude, I'll wait
Oh.
outside the door, and I'll wait for the forest serpent, and I'll talk to it for you. See if I can make an agreement here.
Riot at the library. The proprietor of the library. I'm going to tell you his name, and then you guys have to figure out which gnomish fantasy name generator, because there's a bunch of them for all the different types of gnomes from different things. Which one I picked it from. The proprietor's name, the actual building's name is Teenbrick Spanner Masters Stacks.
Hendrick Spanner Masters Stacks. Gotcha. And the proprietor's name is.
That's his name,
Librarian.
Teenbrick Spanner Master.
Okay.
Gnomish tinker
And
generator.
the library is open to the public. It's a very dingy kind of building, but it's well known in town. Spanner Master collects predominantly gnomish lore, fiction and non-fiction, which means he has extensive library on all kinds of weird mechanical devices. He has vast knowledge brought from the deep gnomes, including quite a lot about the Underdark, which to you sounds horrible, being from Sigil. Why would you want to go to a place called the Underdark? As well as a lot of information about illusionary magic.
Does he have anything about the history of this town?
No, because a lot of the history of this town is so young that there hasn't been time to write stories about it, really.
Okay.
That being said, Spannermaster knows the entire history of this town. He brags that he is that he has his half-brother's second cousin was related. Went on a sea voyage once with grandfather Zook.
Okay. Do you know what's the deal with the High Priest of Ostrom?
And
Like, why is he like that?
He starts laughing. He says, he offers you coffee.
I don't think I've ever had. Have I had coffee before?
It's up to you. You can if you want.
Do they have coffee on Sigil?
Yeah, of course they do.
Okay, yeah, then yeah, I've had coffee before.
He gives you a strong dwarvish coffee. And he asks you,
Yeah.
how did you open the conversation with our dear high priests?
Oh, we just started talking about the old days, I guess.
Well, that was your first mistake.
hmm
Did you try to impress him?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Did you brag a little bit?
A little bit.
Did you try to drop names?
Listen, I'm a bard. That's what we do.
And he's kind of taken aback at that. He said, oh, I would have taken you for an acolyte.
Yeah, looks can be deceiving, you know. You're the illusionist, right?
Alas, he himself is not a practitioner. He is just a collector of books. He asks what kind of business you're here on, that concerns the high priests?
Well, I probably shouldn't talk about it too much. I ran into a couple of his old friends who needed help out of a jam and wanted to see if he'd be interested in helping them. Apparently he's not.
And he laughs again and he says, well, that's your second mistake. When it comes to the high priest, you'll always be better off helping him into some jam.
Set him up and knock him down.
I get that reference.
I couldn't resist.
Pachow!
He turns his chair and looks at the wall of his library. And he says, shall we argue with this wall? Shall we tell this wall what it is we want and make it bend to our will? Ask this wall to help us in our endeavors? Hello, wall! Will you help us? Are you listening? No, it's a wall.
But it seems like he ought to have at least a little bit of shred of compassion for his old friends.
He says if it's compassion you're looking for, you have a journey ahead of you. Because the man you want to talk to is not the high priest. The man you want to talk to is Grandfather Zook. He served as Duke of Blue Worm, as its political leader, for years. Up until about 12 years ago, he sat the high chair in his hall, which he purposely made sure was smaller than the cathedral. That Grandfather Zook, in his wisdom, his compassion for his own kind, and for the settlers who flocked to Blue Worm as it became more and more prosperous, he never wanted to put on airs. He never wore finery. He never wore a crown. And one day, 12 years ago, he hopped down out of his throne, said, all right, I'm done, grabbed his bow, and left. And if you can find him, he's the man you want.
I see. Can I ask you one more question about the High Priest?
I wish you'd ask me many more questions about the High Priest.
All right. Are you of his flock?
He's not a religious man.
Okay. It doesn't seem like, and this shocked me a bit, but it doesn't actually seem like the High Priest of Ostrom cared all that much about Ostrom.
I've never met the man, except to have heard several of his sermons and helped to lick the wounds of some of my gnomish brethren who have had dealings with him. But I think most of the followers of Ostrom would tell you that Ostrom didn't build this place. They did. That by bringing together, well, look at us, and he motions to himself. He's like, I am not of the ocean. Grandfather Zook was not. We're of the forest. We came from the earth. This place is a meeting of earth and water and fire, of many different ideas, many different powers. The acolytes here respect that.
And that's fine for the Duke. But the High Priest?
He nods.
I'm just saying, shouldn't he care more about the god he worships? The goddess?
To that he couldn't say. Again, he's never met the man.
He acted like he was more proud of the town than he was of his own position.
And that's probably very true.
Just struck me as odd, that's all. I mean, I don't know what you know about Sigil, but belief is king there. If you don't believe in something, one thing, you gotta hold on to something.
And he's never heard of Sigil.
Ah, well. It's a wonderful place you should visit.
Just don't go to the Hive. Do you have any other questions for good old Spannermaster?
No, that's it. I'm going to go back to the fortune, not the Fortune's Wheel, the wheel, the Golden Wheel.
The Harper's Wheels.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers why it's called Harper's Wheels, right?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to explain it for the viewers who weren't here for the previous
Eldom
campaign?
named that in.
I'm not... Okay, I'm not sure if it's for the old wheels on the Temple of Ostrom in Garreton, or if it's for Linus Hopstring.
The high priest in Garreton was named Harper.
Okay.
And he had wheels mounted in his room that he spun every day to determine how much he would charge for priest spells.
I remember that. Yeah.
I had forgotten his name was Harper.
That's part of that campaign. It was in the book. It was ridiculous. And
I
we all
remembered his
loved it.
wheels. I didn't remember his name.
It was a first edition module that was delightful.
As you guys converge on Harper's wheels at the end of the day, or at the late afternoon, I guess I should say, it is a extremely large building. 4 stories, and every window looking up has light, and there is music and sound coming from inside. There's much drink and merrymaking to be had in Harper's Wheels. Who's throwing down for lodgings, if that's what you guys are getting here?
I'll do it.
Well, don't we have to spin the wheel to find out how much we need to pay for the night?
No, but when you walk in, mounted in the center of the room is a large wooden column. And mounted on this column are several large gear wheels that remind you of Mechanos. Situated around this column is a table, and people are gambling using the wheels. Placing wagers and spinning wheels, and... But they have various types of lodging that they can offer. The standard would be like a silver a night, but then they have everything up through like grand and lavish VIP suites.
I'll turn to Riot and I'll say, look, they even have a wheel-themed inn. They're trying so hard.
Kelian will pay for the most expensive room because he's curious about... Just
Do you think
curious.
that's like for like steering wheels on a ship? I mean, this is kind of like an oceany place, right?
Yeah.
Wonder why they're all linked together like that, then.
Kelian, 5 gold for your room.
Done.
Okay.
I mean, maybe a priest of Mechanus built it.
The proprietor of Harper's Wheels, who is walking the floor and is an extremely joyful guy, is a Tiefling with a tail, and his name is Drinking.
Drinking?
Yeah.
I am buddying up to this guy.
And when you profess confusion as to, like, does it mean a ship's wheel? He loves to tell the story, not only about what Harper's Wheels were, but about how he acquired them.
Oh,
these
do
aren't-
tell.
Okay.
After the cathedral started to be constructed, immediately after construction broke, there was a lot of political dissent between this area and a kingdom to the south called Caer Tyrell. And one of their outlying towns on the coast called Garreton is where the High Priest of Ostrom resided. And it was seen as an affront to many people in the kingdom south of here that some upstart priest of Ostrom was building his own cathedral here. This was...
Okay.
And so there was a lot of conflict between the two.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean, if it's a god of this realm, or was widely worshipped in this realm, why wouldn't they want a temple in every city?
And, like, Riot would already know the
It's
answer to that
awesome.
question. It's a political question. There's a lot of wealth to be had running a temple. It's not always about the spirituality. In fact, it came to light that Harper, the High Priest of Ostrom, was a member of an ancient assassins guild.
Whoa. Really?
I don't remember that.
And Drinking's grandfather managed to get a hold of the wheels out of that church through illicit means that were called for, given the circumstances.
Bought them from Elbow. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm getting those wheels.
So he's very proud of the fact that he managed, like, he bought up a little bit of land just as the cathedral was breaking ground. Like, he was backing the underdog horse, and he and his family have profited greatly from it.
So
Was
you
that
tell-
before?
I was about to say, does he also tell us the story of of Harper and how he spun the wheels to determine that?
Oh yes, yes he does.
Oh my god!
And this is the point then. That Mahogany says, "So can we spin the wheels to find out how much you have to pay tonight?"
And he explains that there are many different games of chance that they use the wheels for. If you're looking to try your luck.
Oh, that's not
Was
in
this
the
before
theme
or
of
after
the
they
thing.
brought the river here?
Breaking on the cathedral started before they brought the river, but didn't end until after the river was completed. And the way they did it is far inland, part of the Underdark. They used magic to collapse it in, creating a giant sinkhole, which became a lake. And then over the course of weeks and months, some of the founders of Blue Worm used powerful magic to create earthquakes, to open a rift that the lake then flooded into, flowing out to the sea. And it's this river that brings Blue Worm great prosperity over the neighboring kingdoms.
Okay,
Totally
whoever-
intentional, by the way.
Who would ever intentionally cause earthquakes just to make a lake and a river?
The founder
That
wanted to
person
make it
sounds
very
like a
clear that he
madman.
totally meant to make that lake.
And he tells you that the creator of the river, they named one of the 4 arches after him. If you leave the
wait.
tavern, head right, yeah, and head to the right, you'll cross over Eldove's Arch.
Ah,
You know, Eric
I
can do
probably just
earthquake
assumed the
too.
lake.
Eric probably helped.
So, to finish up tonight, because it's getting on to be 6:30. Riot, do you fill them in on everything you've learned today?
Yeah. I'll tell him that Eric is worthless, and the person we want to talk to is Zook.
so how do we find Zook?
Well, someone ought to be along soon enough to tell us that.
And before long, the gnome that you met arrives at the wheels,
Damn,
wearing
you're good.
wearing street clothes now. And where are you guys sitting? At a bar? At a table?
Surrounded
we're
on
the
a
same
table
size.
with space
Okay.
for all of them and ordered as much of all the local delicacies.
Okay.
Not quite a sensate, but she is curious.
Mahogany is gambling with Serenity for the various foods.
Mahogany, I'm
lots
not.
of seafood.
I don't know why there are so many onion-themed dishes.
Onion jam? What?
What is onion jam even?
But I really don't see the need to bet a silver piece on... it just doesn't work as mead.
The gnome confides in you that when Zook left the city, he told 2 gnomes serving as acolytes in the cathedral, including this one, where he was going in case of catastrophe, in case he ever had to be called back. And he said that he doesn't know if you all count as a catastrophe,
Oh, we probably do.
but he
We
does
Give us time.
know the story of Zook and several of his companions traveling to the 9 Hells to attempt to rescue their lost captain and returning empty-handed.
Okay, but before you tell us that, we've met with a few of these people so far, and they've all been terrible. Is Zook terrible? Because I don't want to get all excited and then be disappointed when we meet him.
Yeah, I've had enough of that for one day.
And he says that Grandfather Zook is the best person ever.
Oh, thank God.
And
Alright, okay, go ahead.
we will pick it up with the journey to meet Grandfather Zook next week.
So McLean, you better be there.
Special guest star.
To reprise his role. I purposely made all your guys' characters total assholes. But
Yeah,
not
I can't
Zook.
wait. I can't wait to meet Jade. She's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, that's weird. The only real asshole was Daniel, and he was an NPC.
No, Khalil was very much an asshole.
I mean, you have to remember, I was the DM of that campaign, so from my perspective,
Like,
I
we're
think we
all
can all
assholes
agree
now. Sure.
that Eldove was the most beloved member of the group.
is that what we'll agree? All right, here's a straw poll, guys. This is we can determine who to blippiest at the moment. Blips are worth
We're 10 now.
1050 now.
Up.
They're worth
Rickroll and
1050
roleplaying.
this level and 750 next level because the amount of experience you need actually goes down.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You need
Okay.
21,000 to go from 9 to 10, and then you need 15,000 to go from 10 to 11.
That's odd, but okay.
Yeah, there's all.
Well, everyone's in agreement. 11's a bullshit number. 2 of the same number, not even interesting.
All right, let's gear up for a belief rundown here. Let's give some blips out. We give one blip for who had the most creative solution. And with this caveat, if you want to award it to Nodal, you have to award it to something that Mahogany did. You can award it to something that Ferocity did, but Mahogany can't benefit from that experience. So who had the most creative solution this session?
I'm gonna nominate Fog Cloud.
Fog Cloud?
Fog Cloud was alright.
Fog Cloud did some work.
Yeah.
Flumphscape did do some work tonight.
Yeah, sounds good.
Riot just nominates herself and just gets away with it scot-free. Nice.
No, I am fully.
I have a really high
favor.
persuasion score.
We give one blip for the assists, who furthered the party's goals the most this session.
I'm gonna nominate Mahogany because you guys got discounted resurrection when you wouldn't have gotten shit otherwise.
That seems like a net loss.
I would say that, but if only for my own. only other-
If we're gonna nominate anyone connected to Mahogany's resurrection, we ought to be nominating Liberation, who paid for all of it.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. Yeah.
Sounds fine to me.
We give one blip for being the blip for being the badass. Who's the badass this week?
I'm going to nominate Kelian for practically soloing that heart.
He did climb up there.
Liberation
Keelan-
did
Yeah,
that.
Liberation jumped on it. Kelian just
Which-
stood there
Yeah, you know what?
throwing sticks at it.
Yeah, but did
That's
Liberation
true.
actually do any damage? Because I seem to remember a critical sneak attack.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is he needs to have an ally adjacent to it. Who's the only ally that could get up there?
Listen, we
No,
already
I'm down
gave you
for Kelian.
the
No, I'm
party
down for
assistance. We gave you the party assistance.
Yeah, you're right. That was a great assistance, and in return, we will give you the party assistance blip.
And we award a blip for intangibles for whatever you guys think is deserving of extra experience this week.
Okay, so who made the worst whole game pun?
I think I
Worst
did.
what?
I think Brickroad did, but I
Yeah.
think second best.
I think Grizzly was the worst.
I was going to say, I love that whenever we go to a new place, it always seems like it's either Riot or Kelian or Mahogany that seems to start something. Like this time around, Riot was a real serious one. She was going for information, everything, and sure as shit, Kelian and Mahogany are just like, I'm gonna start shit in the Guild of the Arcane Doors because why not? So
Oh yeah, that
I'm
was
gonna
the
say-
best use of Druidcraft ever. I got to use it twice.
So I'm gonna say Mahogany.
Okay.
All right.
Druidcraft.
Druidcraft.
Let me open up. All right, who wants to do beliefs first?
I'll do it.
Liberation. What's Liberation's belief?
I have to go for the root problem.
Did Liberation act in accordance with that belief?
There was a big giant beating heart that thing was clearly transferring its wounds to, so I was like, okay, that thing needs to stop.
Okay. Did he learn anything new about his beliefs?
I would say no.
And are they changing?
No.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go
Okay.
next.
Mahogany, go next.
Alright, Mahogany's belief is that there's a perfect state of being for everything. And I can't remember if I went last week. But
You didn't because you were dead.
Yeah, you were
yeah,
dead.
that's true.
But this week you can refer to being dead if you like.
Yeah.
So did
No.
Mahogany live that belief? No?
Well, he actually did by coming back to life because he hadn't had enough sweet stories yet.
So Mahogany's perfect state of being does not involve him being dead and then raising as a petitioner in Lou's court?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Eventually he'll get there once he's seen enough.
Did Mahogany learn anything new about his beliefs?
No.
And are they changing?
No.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Riot.
Laws are best followed in a manner that demonstrates their absurdity.
And did she live that belief this week?
Probably not. I could think of a couple of reasons. To say yes, but probably not.
Did she learn anything new?
No.
And are they changing?
Not about her belief.
No. Did she learn anything new in general?
She learned a lot about why Ostrom is in the state that she's in.
So, I have a question I'd like to ask about Riot's beliefs.
Okay.
Riot met her third Priest of Ostrom. The first two Priests of Ostrom she met were total dickheads.
Yep.
Why did she believe this third one would be better?
She didn't, but she did believe that he would be a Priest of Ostrom. And the reason that it was important for her to ask that question of why isn't there a Temple of Ostrom in every city? And you said something like, oh, well, Riot would know the answer to the question. But she didn't. So she was asking genuinely, and the answer you gave me was enlightening, which is that Eric is the High Priest of the Temple because it's personally advantageous. It's not an Ostrom thing.
Oh, the reason I said Riot would know that is because she's an anarchist.
Yeah.
Because she would know that the organization that surrounds religion
I see.
benefits the people in the power in that religion.
Okay.
That Eric represents, whatever his beliefs might be, he represents the seat of power within that organization.
But that's fine. I mean, that's just confirming that that's the way it works here in the Primes, too.
Okay.
Because I know that not every place is as divided and faction or driven as Sigil. But it sounds like there's political power structures and power plays to be made here among the worshippers of Ostrom even. And it seems like a focus on that and not on devotion to Ostrom herself is what's got us in this mess.
And are Riot's beliefs changing?
Yeah, but I need to talk to you after this session about how.
Okay.
No, you know what? I'm going to say no, but I am going to say yes to the I learned something about my beliefs today, which is all that stuff. And I still need to talk to you about that after the session.
Kelian, what's Kelian's belief?
Best outcome is what benefits me or the party the most, directly proportional to the party's well-being.
And did Kelian act in accordance with that belief?
Nah.
No?
No.
Learning anything new?
I mean, not yet,
Okay.
but he's behaving differently.
And are his beliefs changing?
Yeah. He's kind of softening a bit when it comes to party-related things.
How so?
He was genuinely mad and upset at Mahogany's death and the subsequent revival, but he also felt like the Alchiondac order, whatever they're called, were taking advantage of the rest of the party, and that didn't sit well with him.
So, as far as Kelian being a member of
especially
the
as
Fated,
someone who believes that information is in fact power.
So Kelian can respect that aspect of the order.
Yeah, very much so. But
As far as being a
did
member
feel-
of the Fated and the Alchiondacs being an order who, by their own admission, seized every piece of information and power that they have, does Kelian respect that?
definitely, that's why he was curious about it and asking them about how are they so good at finding out things.
Okay. What's Serenity's belief?
By my actions, I will make the multiverse a better place.
And did she act in accordance with that belief?
Not really.
Did she learn anything new?
Yeah, I think the death and resurrection of Mahogany are actually sitting hard on her.
How so?
She feels responsible.
So I think we touched on this last week. Like, she feels that she should have been in between the two of them.
She feels, yeah, and more to the point, she feels like Mahogany does not act within the cadence of the planes properly to always be allowed to be on his own, or to not have someone who can do it better with him or helping him.
So, for lack of a better explanation, Serenity sees herself as kind of a model cipher and sees Mahogany as somebody who needs babysat.
Well, I mean, Serenity hasn't died yet.
That's very
Again,
true. Is it important to Serenity, who is like working and advancing in the faction? Is it important to her that she bring Mahogany around to her way of thinking?
No, it's just more that she's concerned about his well-being than his actual beliefs or anything like that. She thinks that he might not be reckless enough, or maybe too reckless to be a cipher. She can't tell which.
And are Serenity's beliefs changing?
Yeah, but I have to think about that some more. I'll probably write it up sometime this weekend.
Okay, we will.
Or next week.
We'll pick that up next week then. So everybody's going to take one belief point. Everybody answered yes to one of the questions. Kelian has the straw poll for this week. So
Nice.
Kelian, that's one extra blip for you.
Okay.
I awarded only 2 blips this week. I awarded one to Riot. As soon as you got back to Sigil, she's like, "So, Ferocity, have you thought about being an anarchist?" Everybody else did that too, but Riot did it first. So
Yeah.
No, Serenity didn't do that. She wanted to be a cipher, she would just be a cipher. Yeah.
You said blips are 1050, you said?
1050. And I awarded Mahogany his flaw. I can't be trusted to act on my own, and I should do what people tell me. Mahogany got it into his head that he should walk into the Guild of Arcane Doors and start lipping off. And then show a demonstration of Druid crafts.
Mahogany was just helping out. Listen,
And-
that could be the start of their... Like, they can diversify.
But I feel like if Lois Vesterhoff had been there, she would have told you to not do that. And then you wouldn't have gotten in trouble.
I think
So-
the fact that Mahogany thinks he was doing a good thing is why.
You guys each take one blip. I've got some encounter experience for you. So Mahogany
How much
being
blips?
dead doesn't get this. 1050. I had some encounter experience for you. I don't have it anymore.
Oh, good.
Here it is.
Wonderful.
Okay, 2300. I didn't divide that yet. Hold still.
Oh. Good thing I didn't hit the plus key already.
So can I give this experience to Ferocity then?
Oh yeah, I already
Sure, you got
factored
it.
in the ferocity. Yeah, that's why you're leveling her up to 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody gets to take 680. That's from the Invisiman and his heart. Finishing him up. That's it. Well, considering how well you guys do seeking out Grandfather Zook next week, maybe you'll get some more experience. Or maybe a giant poison forest hydra will show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would be cool with that.
I heard tell of forest serpents.
The forest serpents are just the name of the city guard.
That's misleading too.
How?
Everything about this town is awful.
Prime Material's a weird and
Shitty place.
unsettling place.
Believe me, Liberation's going to try and make as good friends with drinking as possible right now. 'Cause he's the first actual person like him that he's met.
Also, his name is Drinking, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
He's the only good thing about this plane.
Well, you didn't get to meet the Gnomish Librarian. He's pretty good.
Actually, no, that Triton was pretty alright too. I hope he shows up for that drink.
Yeah, we're going to pick this back up next week with another prime material adventure right in the middle of my Planescape campaign, because that's what you want to do in a Planescape campaign, right? Go to the prime material.
Go to the place that we already spent 30 sessions at. Yeah.
So, here, I got real bad news for you guys, though.
Oh.
Riot is 2 planes away from her god's plane, and so is Mahogany. So Mahogany, you lose 2 spellcasting levels the whole time you're on the prime material, which is 1 more than he's used to.
Okay. I'm not disputing this. I'm just curious about how this works.
Okay.
Because like Eric, who was also a priest of Osram on the same plane, never had any problem. Like his spellcasting level was his spellcasting level.
Now, this question has 2 answers, because the first answer is like the actual answer, like the mechanical reason. Like, the second answer is an in-universe answer that is only there to justify the first answer.
Right.
The first answer is because it wasn't Planescape. That's the rule. Priests don't lose levels because it's not. The in-universe answer is Eric is less powerful on the prime material than he would be on Mechanos. It's just, it kind of like functionally, when he gained his first level in Cleric, that's the rough equivalent of Riot reaching level 3. Because he did it on the prime. That's when he starts getting level 1 spells. Riot, when she comes here, if she's level 3, she loses her level 2 and 3 spells. That's just... Eric didn't realize he was being penalized because he lived his entire life on the prime and didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I said, it's not like I'm looking to cast my cleric spells anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious about the reason for that. But that makes
Here's
sense.
the real reason. Eric, you thought there was a reason why Eric was a really shitty cleric, didn't you?
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Nobody got revived more than Eldov in that campaign.
Yeah.
Eldov got... What's the name of it?
Revived over
he got
and over.
revivified. That's like shitty raised
There was a
dead.
lot of raised dead, too.
There was a lot of diamonds being crushed, okay?
Yeah. So
This is not the first time people have insinuated that Eric is a terrible cleric. I mean, his name is Eric the Cleric, okay?
We show
It's
up
like
in town.
built in.
Oh, the high
Eric was
priest
such a
sucked.
good cleric that his goddess almost died.
We show up in town like Trick's like, oh yeah, he doesn't seem to care that much about religion. It's like, no shit, it's Eric.
He doesn't have any religion skill.
yeah, he doesn't have any ranks of religion.
So, just to be clear, though, so Mahogany, you cast your spell casting chart is as though you were 2 levels lower.
Okay.
Your class features you get from being a druid, none of those are changed. Your wild shape, whatever channel divinity druids get, if they get any, that's all fine. That goes for Riot too. Like Riot's channel divinity is fine. If she comes up against some undead, she can turn undead. But the spell casting is reversed.
Here's the real reason Eric's the way he is now. Is because everyone has a finite amount of bullshit they can deal with in their life. and
Eric.
everyone
Eric was
else, like most people never reach it. But Eric unfortunately did a lot of hanging out with Eldov.
I feel like Eric reached the place with Eldov that Liberation is eventually going to reach with Mahogany. Alright, that's it. That's it for the stream, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for playing. We'll be back next week with a good old-fashioned prime material adventure. And with any luck, we'll get to meet Grandfather Zook.
Fashion? Oh, Ferocity is coming back?